Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's a very fair argument that every time you're considering pursuing further education or any form of education, the most common thing is study something that is practical. At the heart of this motion is a conversation on STEM education and financial literacy. And in this debate today, we have Jamhuri High School versus Mang'u High School. And the motion of dissection reads, investing in financial literacy for youth is more crucial than investing in STEM education in Kenya. I read the motion again. Investing in financial literacy for youth is more crucial than investing in STEM education in Kenya. All the best to both teams. Team proposition, first speaker, you have 3 minutes.
Standing here, I am a neutral man. But because of the future, I have to lean towards one side, the good side. A man who invests is more financially literate than the one who spends it on opulence. And a man who comes up with a bullet train sets a statement that he is second to none. I choose to be financially literate. This way, I'll afford the best minds. Our standards will be the standards. Gilbert Onyango here to propose on the motion that states investing in financial literacy for the youth is more crucial than STEM education in Kenya. Now, what is financial literacy? Financial literacy is the ability to understand and effectively use various financial skills, including personal financial management, budgeting, and investing. Now, as team proposition, we are arguing that financial literacy is essential for empowering the youth with the necessary skills and knowledge to make informed financial decisions, whatever, manage money effectively, and navigate the complexities for personal finances. Now, first, let's take a look at the countries that have implemented the investment in financial literacy. These are Australia, Canada, Japan, United Kingdom, Singapore, Switzerland, and so on and so forth. Now, in the UK, for example, according to the Pew Research Center, the UK has invested in financial education through initiatives such as Money Advice Service and Financial Conduct Authority. These organizations provide resource guidance and support to help individuals improve their financial literacy and make informed financial decisions. Now, on to my first point, enhanced entrepreneurial ecosystems. Financial literacy is essential for fostering entrepreneurship, which is a key driver of economic growth. In the US, for example, the Jumpstart Coalition for Personal Financial Literacy has shown that young people who are financially literate are more likely to start and sustain businesses successfully. A study by the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, GEM, found that financially entrepreneurs are 30% more likely to secure funding and sustain their businesses for long term. Now, what does entrepreneurship bring to the economy of Kenya? Entrepreneurship brings job creation, economic growth, innovation technology, rural development, and so on. Now, on to my second point, mitigation of economic risks. Financial literacy education helps youth understand and navigate complex financial systems, reducing the risk of financial pitfalls. In Canada, for example, financial literacy initiatives, such as those by the Financial Consumer Agency of Canada, FCAC, have led to a more financially literate population, better at managing debts and avoiding scams. Now, as team proposition, what do we stand for? We are saying investing in financial literacy empowers individuals to make informed financial decisions, promoting economic stability and personal wealth. And as I finish, remember, science, technology, engineering, and math is a STEM, but financial illiteracy is the root. Thank you.
Yesterday, I had one of the most crucial talks with one of the wisest men I've ever met. His name was Giovanni Wanjama. Now see, Giovanni told me something that I feel team proposition should be fully aware of. He said, learning is a gift, even if pain is your teacher. So the pain team proposition is about to experience the moment I'm done, don't take it too personally. It's just for the safety it's just for the purpose of learning. My name is Bradley Nick, and I reign from the Mang'u High School, and yes, I am here to strongly oppose this motion for the following reasons. Allow me to rebut a certain point that my friend said. He talked about countries have invested, the various countries that have invested in financial literacy. You see, this is because they had earlier invested in STEM education. You see, investing in STEM education and financial literacy can be most beneficial. That's something very evident. And the STEM skills is what forms the foundation of economic growth and innovation. Financial literacy allows individuals to manage their finances and benefit from that growth, economic growth. That's what we're trying to say. Therefore, while both are important, prioritizing STEM education actually will have a more significant long-term impact on the Kenyan youth. That's something very evident. Allow me to go to my first point where we say innovation and competitiveness. You see, something that we came to learn as we were doing our various research was countries with strong STEM workforce can actually compete more effectively in the globalized economy by attracting foreign investments and creating new industries. You see, the more STEM education is brought forth, the more advances we get. You see, we require the finances by the time you actually say that we need to invest in financial literacy, you require the finances. How are you going to invest in something that you don't even have a way to go through it? And the second thing I'm going to talk about is empowering individuals. You see, people who've gone through STEM education have proved to actually be critical thinkers. They think beyond exactly they go so far. You see, STEM education stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. These are serious people. These are people who can actually think from various ends. You see? I hope you get what I'm saying. So, STEM education is the foundation to everything else. When we talk about financial literacy, it's something that has to be brought about by investing in STEM education. We're in Kenya. In Kenya, most of us actually succeed as a result of STEM education. So please, let's always consider the fact that where we are heading is not time for considering financial literacy. We actually need to prioritize STEM education. That was my time. Thank you so much.
Like a river, I have to make a choice. Deposit like an estuarine. Give two choices, financial literacy or illiteracy. With financial literacy, I'll be able to solve, account, save, and manage a secure future. While the usual thing of a river, we usually have a delta, and the delta stems are the stems. And you know what I mean. Many specialities, we need not explanation. We come here, a side proposition, talking about financial literacy as the core of this country and other countries. We are going to adopt the systems that they conduct with this financial literacy. And here is my justification. We want to shine light upon its policies or its pillars, budgeting, saving, and managing. And how will we shine this light? By implementing it. The simpler way is to teach it in curriculums, usually in schools. You see, we can use this as lessons. Example, finances. They are still eminent in business studies, but they're not usually applicable because some people are deemed ignorant of these subjects. And then we want partnership with financial institutions. I believe side opposition told us that STEM was the foundation for this. But something I have to say is that STEM is the STEM. As my first speaker finished off his speech, STEM is the STEM, but financial literacy is the root. Simple. Can you get that through your thick heads? Please. Partnership and financial institutions, that's another implementation method. Banks and microfinance institutions working with these banks and microfinance institutions to offer financial literacy programs to their customers, especially in rural and reserved areas. Banks can host seminars which idealize these financial institutions and financial literacy. On to my first point, combating financial scams and exploitation. Of course, as the youth, we are not really aware of the finances quite well. I believe we are on average 35% in this case. But when we learn about this financial literacy, in a digital age where scams and exploitation are rampant, financial literacy is crucial for protecting youth from fraudulent schemes. Kenya has witnessed this. And my first speaker spoke about these countries that have actually implemented financial literacy. We find Switzerland, one of the best, I repeat, the best banking systems is found in Switzerland. And what do? They prioritized financial literacy. I believe when we prioritize this, implement it in Kenya through those certain implementations I have stated, that is only one step from going to the roots and establishing what is strong. And then to my second point, immediate economic impact. It is a direct and immediate economic impact in economic stability of individuals and family with a significant portions of Kenya's population live below the poverty line. So I believe implementing financial literacy is the way, because as we state, STEM is the stem, but financial literacy is the root. Thank you.
Giovanni is the name and winning is the aim. And I'm here to strongly oppose the motion that says investing in financial literacy is more crucial for the Kenyan youth than investing in STEM education. One thing that we need to understand that team proposition does not understand is that we are a middle income country. They're giving us examples of China, giving us examples of the United States. You need to understand that these are high income earning countries that have already invested in STEM education. Hence, they are now allowed to now invest in financial literacy. So, as the foundation to now build our economy, we first need to invest in STEM education. Number one, we need to understand that the 21st century is a knowledge-based century. Being a knowledge-based century, we need as a country, as our youth, to be able to compete on the global sector. How will we do this? We will do this by investing in STEM education, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. To give you an example, the world's largest companies, 4 of the 5 are technological companies, right from Amazon to Microsoft. Come back to Kenya, the biggest company is Safaricom. So, as a logical thinker, as I think we all are, it is responsible for us to invest in STEM education. Now, let us look at our Kenya Vision 2030. Kenya Vision 2030 was launched in the year 2008 by our very own President, Mwai Kibaki. When you look at the principles of Kenya Vision 2030, 2 of them, one is STEM, STI, which means science, technology, and innovation. The second one was macroeconomic stability. These are the visions that we're working to. The vision to this was to create a middle-income country where everyone has equal job opportunities. We have a good education system. That was the vision. We already have middle income. We already a middle-income economy. So I think it is only right for us to continue investing in STEM education until we are in the platform whereby we can now invest in financial literacy. One thing that I think we do not understand is that investing in both financial literacy and STEM education is very important. But I think as a country in the middle income sector, it is more important to invest in STEM education. Because in the long run, let's just look at this. Okay, you learn how to manage finances, but you do not have the finances. What is the point of having all these finances, of learning how to manage them, yet you do not have the finances? Now, another wise man called Brian Kinuthia told me, what is the point of having a high-performance car, a high, beautiful car, yet you do not have the fuel to drive the car? You learn all about money, yet you do not know. You do not have the money. It's just a packed car that will not help you. So as team opposition, we are strongly saying that we need to invest in STEM education rather than financial literacy. Let's look at our country. Sustainable development. What are the problems facing our country? Global warming, climate change, food security. How will we solve this? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Science, we deal with biotechnology. That is how our agriculture sector is growing. Look at technology. This is how we are earning money. So as a country, if you want to solve the problems you're having, we first need to invest in STEM education so that you can get the sustainable development that you want. Looking at STEM education, you learn about other skills such as problem solving, analytical thinking, project management. That is in STEM. So learning about STEM is the way to go so that you can become a country that you want to get there by 2030. Thank you. That is Giovanni Njama signing out.
Starting in 3, 2, 1. Well, as my first and second speaker have stated, I will state it once again. Science, technology, engineering, and math is the STEM, but financial literacy is the root. What do I mean by this? I will explain it further with a question. My question is, where has STEM helped us over the last 5 years in dealing with the problems affecting the country? What problems are these? Well, I'm talking about high levels of unemployment, income inequality, and infrastructure deficiency. Well, that's a question I would like answered. And now, my first and second speaker have also talked about on a number of points, if I may state them real quick. They talked about enhancing entrepreneurial ecosystem, mitigation of economic risk, and combating financial scams and exploitation, and so on and so forth. Now, let me get into my first point. Financial literacy can empower the youth to manage finances effectively, as an example seen in Australia, where the financial literacy program have been integrated into the school curriculum, leading to an increase in financial behaviors among students. This is according to Pew Research Center. Well, from this we can see that financial literacy is working and it should be heavily invested. Well, let me continue further. Yeah. The second speaker spoke on we are using examples from other countries, e.g. The countries that have implemented financial literacy, such as Singapore, South Korea, Japan, UK, Australia, and many others. Well, we are doing this because a wise man once said that we learn from the mistakes of others. Understand? We learn from the mistakes of others so that we can improve ourselves. Yeah? And you are speaking on the basis that STEM complements, or rather STEM, there is no STEM without financial literacy. Well, let me ask you a question. How will you have a business? How will you run a business if you don't have the skills to manage it? How? Now, let me use an example of Singapore. Well, my team and I, we sat down and we researched and we found how Singapore has benefited from implementing financial literacy. Number one, improved financial inclusion. What do I mean by this? Singapore's emphasis on financial literacy has helped increase financial inclusion by educating citizens on banking services, savings, and investments. Well, in Kenya, like Singapore, we can leverage financial education initiatives to promote access to financial services for the youth. This will help in a number of ways, including rapid development and others. So you can name them. Number two, enhanced economic stability. Well, financially literate individuals contribute to economic stability by making informed financial decisions, managing debt responsibility. By promoting financial literacy in Kenya, Kenya can strengthen its economic resilience and reduce vulnerability to financial shocks, ultimately fostering sustainable economic growth. Well, what are we saying as team proposition? We are saying that we should heavily invest in financial literacy because it has worked in other places. And there's no doubt that it will work here with the proper implementation. STEM has been around for a while, but we are not seeing the effects. It's not being felt in the country because they are speaking on biometrics and stuff. Well, recently we were being challenged with floods. Where did STEM help us? Where did it come into play? And with that, I rest my case. Over and out.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is His Grace Sir Brian Kinuthia, here to strongly oppose the motion we are here for today. So, first of all, my learned friends on team proposition, they asked me, where has STEM education helped us? Right now, according to what I've heard you say, your research was heavily influenced by ChatGPT. Let me tell you something. That ChatGPT used for your research, that's STEM education. That's science, that's technology. The clothes you're wearing right now, that uniform, I can see the audience is looking spick and span. That's STEM education. This very sound system that you use to feed us lies and deceit, this is STEM education, my people. So kindly, next time before you come here, kindly do your research, right? So, a very wise man by the name Sir Bradley Nick, he told me that knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is power. And so I come here and tell you, yes, you'll tell me about financial literacy. And for me, I'm all for financial literacy. But the government will teach you on financial literacy. What's to say that you will focus on that financial literacy? What's to say that you will apply that financial literacy? So you see me, for example, here. I have a 200 shilling note and I have a card here. I know that this is the last money I have, right? That I should invest it in something so that it can yield more money. But what's to stop me from saying, nah, I don't care. Let me go enjoy myself. Let me take some chill girl here and go buy her ice cream. Yet I know that this is detrimental to my development. Nothing. So even if you come and tell me that we should improve, that we should focus more on financial literacy, what's to say that people will actually follow through with that, right? My next point, this money that I've showed you right here, it's nothing more but a piece of paper and a plastic card with some serial numbers written on it. But what actually gives this money its value? Because if not, it's just a piece of paper lying around somewhere, right? So your main argument was based on investing and all that, making sure that the money grows, not falling into debt. Well, let me tell you something on that investing. What are you investing in if there is no STEM education? If there are no new innovations for you to investing in, what are you investing in? Please tell me. Because if you look at the major companies right now, they're all technological. In fact, the biggest company right now in Kenya and in East Africa, it's Safaricom, with a revenue value of $2.5 billion. You know what the next in line is? That's number 2. That's East African Breweries with $900 million. You know what? That's 3 times. That's a gap of 3 times by Safaricom. Why? Because of STEM education. It empowered some youth somewhere to come up with that idea, call it Safaricom, and make it into the giant it is right now. So, as of now, money is not backed by gold due to gold saturation. Money is backed by the innovative power of the youth in the country. And hence, STEM education, by relying more on STEM education than financial literacy, you're making sure that our youth, they are doing something, they are making new innovations, which will in turn back this money that you want. Because if there are more innovations, the money has more value. You see? So financial literacy will be worth more if STEM education is there. And that's why I tell you, yes, you say that STEM education is the STEM and financial literacy is the root. Let me tell you something. STEM education is the very ground upon which this plant grows. But for your case, that plant you're talking about, those roots which are financial literacy, you say, those are just weeds. And my team is here to squash that. Thank you.
We have come here, given you points, and you have stated everything that you need to know, the implementations and the various factors that come with it. My first speaker spoke on coping and enhancing entrepreneurial ecosystems, mitigation of economic risk. I spoke of combating financial scams and exploitation and immediate economic growth. Their points were so insignificant that I didn't quite record them. They just gave us case studies, and I believe this is a debate where we drive out logical points and we see the winner in the end result. And why we have done justice to this motion is because financial literacy is the key. Financial literacy has done it. STEM education is still there. How has the government implemented it, and how has it made it effective? So when we look at this, let's weigh the sides. We have a much more heavier side, a side that has more impact than what they are trying to state. And for the name, by the way, it's Martin Baraza, Jamhuri High School. Debate Circle has actually acknowledged us by placing a green light over there. So thank you.
And my time starts in 3, 2, and 1. Let me get straight into the thick of it. They're talking of STEM being the stem of the plant, talking about financial literacy being the root. But you need to understand that STEM is the ground on which this plant of economic growth lies. One thing that I do not understand with team proposition, they're demonizing STEM education. And I'm here to tell you, it is equally important to invest in both financial literacy and STEM education. But as a country, for the long term, for the economic approach that we're trying to get, it is better to invest in STEM education. We're not trying to demonize financial literacy. We're not saying that we shall not teach our youth. That is why when you read the motion, we're talking about which one is more crucial. So I do not understand why they're coming to demonize STEM education instead of telling us why financial literacy is better. Now, talking about the countries they've been talking about, the United States and all that, when you look at Barack Obama's speech during his second term, he was asked, what is the main thing that is going to help America maintain the top position in the world? He talked about STEM education. He talked about that. And then on his retirement speech, he even said that the reason why we are where we are is because of STEM education. Now, as financial literate people and as STEM educates, I would like to say that financial literacy is a complement to the memorandum that we're driving, and that is STEM education. Thank you.
A round of applause, please, for both teams on stage. Much has been debated when it comes to finding a balance or prioritizing STEM education or investment to financial literacy. We'll move straight to the judge's desk to get their feedback.
Thank you. Jamhuri versus Mang'u, congratulations. You have done justice to the motion. I'll start with Kibet. Good use of examples. Wonderful introduction. Check on eye contact. That is something I noted. Martin, you are composed. Wonderful use of illustrations on Switzerland and elsewhere. Kelly, you have also explained the issues of STEM and done good cross-examination, but I wish you can reduce the reading also. That is something I noted. Mang'u High School. Nick, a very eloquent speaker. You talked about what should be put where, and I think that is actually what the motion is all about. It's not that STEM or financial literacy is wrong or bad, but what should take first priority, and that was quite well presented. Giovanni, that was good. You are passionate, a very convincing speaker. Brian, good use of examples. Even the cash and the card, at least you brought the idea well. But you did not tell us where this issue of Safaricom raking in billions, where you got that information from. If we cannot get the source, then it might remain an allegation. But I'm convinced that the two teams have tried their best to give justice to the motion.
I'll just give a general comment, and it's based on the nature of the motion, where we're just looking at which is more crucial than the other. So we, apart from Giovanni, when he was giving his final submissions, we would have loved to see more of that from both teams, where we see that there's an intermarriage of both STEM and financial literacy education. Thank you. All the best to the teams.